Trepassey to St. John's branch line, a guided tour. Welcome to the Trepassey Railway. One of my favorite pastimes is following the old and now abandoned Newfoundland railway branch lines that dot the landscape of the island of Newfoundland. We have spent the last 2.5 years following the old branch line which departed St. John's on Newfoundland's east coast and followed the southern shore of the Avalon Peninsula towards the historic community of Trepassey and the end of the line. This line has been closed since 1932, and not until lately did we realize the tracks were taken up in 1942 and not in 1932 as we had first thought. Not much remains of the old Southern Shore Railway line now, but what does is truly breathtaking. December 10th, 1910. PCO Driscoll gets $100,000 contract for rails, etc. for the new Trepassey branch line. Sir Michael Cashin, 1864-1926. Prime Minister of Newfoundland, 1919. He was the prime mover in the attempt to secure a branch line to Trepassey, the old southern. One of the first stops on its way to Trepassey is the community of Kilbride. The track bed here still exists. It's heavily boggy area, lots of water. It's well used regards to ATV vehicles. This picture here would actually show you the condition of the track today. Plus we found some old firebox brick from a locomotive, along with a chunk of slag. It's actually burnt coal, along with remains of the old corduroy road, which is put down before the track is actually placed on top. The track would actually, or should be, at least 3 to 4 feet higher than the corduroy road, which is exposed in this picture. You can access this part of the line by driving up Forbes Pond Road in the Ghouls. The next community is the Ghouls. Not much of the track here actually remains due to the community being built up. It's very hard to trace it, even with Google Earth. Although on Beaverbrook Road you can see the remains of an old trestle. And as you leave the Ghouls, you follow the track, you're in behind Babel's Big Pond. The track in here is very, very boggy, and not much of it actually exists here other than underwater. It's very wet area and almost impassable. Walking this stretch was pretty bad. I did get my feet wet, needless to say. The next community is Babel's. A railway station did exist here. Not much remains of it, only a concrete foundation for the loading platform. Also located here is 12 O'Clock Hill, which is a 2-hour walk between Babel's and Witless Bay. Many spikes and bolts and nuts can be found throughout this section of the line. Next community is Witless Bay. The railway runs throughout Witless Bay. You can catch the track. It's located on Old Track Road South and North, which is the abandoned rail line. Is also home to the other end of 12 O'Clock Hill. Again, lots of spikes can be found along this section. And at Pierre's Brook there's actually a trestle with the deck is actually still intact, along with an old homestead. Oh, it must be very, very old. On the other side of the bridge, the track here is pretty much grown over and impassable. Next is the community of Mobile. There's a few bridges actually remains here. There's also a flume for the community's water supply and hydroelectric station down on the beach below. Also, this is home to the Section Master Station, which is a very interesting building, considering it is actual railway infrastructure. The inside of the structure is very well looked after, including original passenger seats, and a old kerosene lantern can also be found. Next community is Tours Cove. It also boasts its own railway station. Not much remains of this, only the loading platform. The track bed here is fairly grown over as well. There's evidence of an old telegraph line here due to guy wires left over. This picture here actually shows the highway, and there actually was a railway crossing here about halfway down the road here. And the railway also had another crossing on Beachy Cove Road. If you look straight across from this sign, you'll also see where the track ran in through the woods here and actually went around the hill and back. The next community is the community of La Manche, near La Manche Park. The first evidence of the rail line here is actually the old trestle, which you can see from the highway, and this picture shows. The track bed here is pretty much grown over. There is about a half a kilometre stretch that is walkable. The rest is pretty bad, and we had to give up just too many trees. And we also did find a track link. Note here that there's actually 4 bolts used on this track link to secure it to the rails. Next community is the community of Cape Broyle. You can access the track here on Old Track Road. You can access that off of Horse Chops Road off the main highway. The condition of the track up on the other end of this road is in a boggy area. It's walkable. I wouldn't suggest driving. It brings you up to a wooded area which comes up to a dead end. And the railway entered Cape Broyle with the pasture road, and an actual railway station was located on the west end of Cape Broyle. This concrete platform shown. Spikes can be found. There's also talk of a derailment, and there's actually 3 trestles in here in the valley. There's a long walk. We turned around at the green cabin shown here. Next community is Ferryland. It's a very nice and quiet community. The railway here enters on your right hand side next to the school as you enter Ferryland from St. John's. It's about a hour and a half walk from one end to Ferryland to the other. It's a nice little walk. It's level as usual, and lots of spikes and bolts and coal can be found here. Also farmers' fields. If you take the time and walk off the tractor a little bit, you can come across some farmers' fields and nice areas for taking pictures. At Ferryland, we also found a original section of rail that was actually found in the woods. Most bridges along here has been rebuilt, which is a very good job, I must say. If you look closely, you can actually see little frogs. Also in Ferryland, there's actually a museum. We've actually went there. We've seen articles on the Reed family jewelry, including uniforms from the Newfoundland Regiment in World War II, and a locomotive bell can be found in the museum, along with a kitchen in the upstairs section of the museum, which is dated at least back to the 40s or 50s. It's definitely a nice place to visit, the Ferryland Museum.